Hello, hello, and welcome to this free Zoom with Cass and
Carmen.
Carmen. Hello, Carmen. We're talking about writing on this.
Yes.
We're be doing this Dancing with Riches boot camp on writing and the riches of
Mm,
writing, and I'm so excited about it. And we all have these stories to tell. We may not even know it.
absolutely.
And I love that we're doing it with the Dancing with Riches because it's about recognizing the riches of your life, recognizing what inspirational stories you might have and be able to tell that would actually inspire people, motivate people, and get them going. So it might be a story that you have lived, right? There's autobiographies, right? The autobiographical stuff. I did that a bit with Dancing with Riches, and Rita worked with me on that. She's online. And sometimes people write about fiction. Sometimes people write about inspirational things, love stories, poems, memoirs. And is there something, Carmen, that they all have in common? And some people, one second, some people have never even begun writing anything, and we've got different people on here, never started writing anything, but would like to see if maybe they have something. Some people have started and haven't been able to continue. Some people have completed even one book and are looking to do another one, or write a play or poems or all kinds of stuff, right? So what is it that, what inspiration can we be for that? And what is it, if anything, that they all have in common? Yeah.
Well, there's a universal aspect to storytelling, and I agree with Cass that we all have a story to tell. Sometimes many stories to tell. Every day that you live is a story. Sometimes um, many of you might travel and you in hotel room and you forgot your toothbrush, and getting your toothbrush to brush your teeth becomes a whole story, a whole journey, right? So, but there's one thing, there's definitely a universal truth to storytelling, which is a story is a narrative about people doing things. That's it. It's about people, characters doing things, overcoming obstacles, and either triumphing, being successful, overcoming the obstacles or not. Was there triumph or not? And those are and in many stories, the hero doesn't succeed. And I know that there's simultaneous translation going on. If I need to slow down, or if you need to ask a question, please feel free. I'm so grateful to Cass. And first, actually want to thank Cass for inviting me to this wonderful community, because I saw Cass has spoken to me so much about her work. So this is wonderful to be here. Um, and I know that there's many languages and simultaneous translations that are happening. If if anybody needs anything, just let me know and we'll deal with it. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Um, so it's awesome. But there's something about watching, reading about, in books or in movies about people, characters who overcome obstacles. And in some instances they don't, but they still win, even if they don't. Very, very famous archetype is David and Goliath. It's a biblical story, but you see it in so many stories. And I'm going to, throughout the workshop today, I'm going to reference books and plays. And I know many, perhaps we have not all seen, but there's seen these works, but there's a wonderful musical called Chorus Line that ran for Broadway for many years. And there was a dancer who comes, and the story of Chorus Line, for those that you don't know, is basically it's an audition. It's
Right.
what
Is that the one
dancers.
with tits and ass? Tits and
Yes,
ass.
yes.
What a perfect combination. What a blast.
Absolutely.
Tits and ass
Abs-
will save your life. It sure saved mine. I saw
that's exactly right. I
that.
love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. So that's how this character overcame her obstacle of not having a voluptuous body, to get more, to book more gigs, to book more work. there's a dancer who says, it's her first audition back after spending some time in a hospital for a nervous breakdown. She had a really hard time with the business, and she just crashed and she couldn't succeed. Like, she just couldn't do it anymore. She had a nervous breakdown. She comes out. The day of the play is her first audition. Finally confesses to the director, who's never seen. He's always in the back of the house. And she tells the director, even if I don't get the audition, I'm going to cry because it's such an amazing moment. Even if I don't get the audition, I still won because I came here. So that's overcoming an obstacle, even though she did not win. And eventually she gets cast. She actually gets cast in a musical. But at the time that she made that statement, she didn't know she was going to be cast in a musical. So one of the amazing things about her journey is that for her to win, she didn't have to win. For her to get booked the job, she didn't have to win. So in stories, you can have, stories are infinite. Stories are infinite. So basically, there are many of you here that I know, perhaps, I know for certain some of you have written, some of you have not. It's a very scary thing to write. It's very sensitive. It's very tenuous. It's even for myself, that I've been writing professionally for 25 years. When I have something really new, I don't like to show it to everybody. I get nervous. It's a very, very vulnerable state to be in, because if you write with, people think that you have to just use your mind to write, but you need to use your heart and your soul to write. And that you come from a truthful place. When you're writing from a truthful place, it is very, very, very vulnerable. So I just want to start off with saying, the fact that you're all here is the beginning, is the first step toward a project.
Exactly, showing up to do that. Yeah.
Just showing up.
I did an interview with a gal who's a painter today, and I was asking her, does she do, from India, does she get inspiration for that? She said, I used to work with inspiration, but you get inspired. You actually have to, when you show up, inspiration meets you halfway. So that first step, I really love the way she put that,
Mm-hmm.
so that first step
Absolutely.
of actually just choosing, hey, I'm going to give it a try, and the
Absolutely.
mere fact that I'm giving it a try, right? And also on some ground that you may not be familiar with. There's a woman that she's not on. She's Rai Television. Do you know Rai Television in Italy?
That's in Italy, right? Like
Yeah.
they also have like Due or Rai
Yeah,
Tre.
exactly. Rai Uno,
Right.
Rai Due, Rai Tre. And she and her husband, they're both writers, for script writers for Rai.
Mm.
And she
Oh,
was
wow.
so excited. She's like, we want to participate in this boot camp because it's an international perspective. So
Mm.
what way do we write that perhaps from different perspectives we can actually change that and expand, and where we're writing. So we'll be doing the boot camp starting on Monday, July 6th, and doing it for 4 Mondays in a row, and really just working and playing. I didn't want to interrupt you. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, no, no, no. This is, no, no. I want this to be free flowing.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
want
Cool.
this to be free flowing because, and I teach, as Kass just shared it with my bio, I teach at a university here in New York called the New School. And for me, I really tell the students, yes, there's things I can share with you, but you're doing the work. It's your journey. It's your journey. So I'm just helping you. I'm guiding you. That's how I see myself more. And I think in this particular case, for sure, I'm going to be a guide for you more than anything else. But and I'll share with as the dancer shared with Kass, whatever I can share with you. I will. I see. I'm looking. There's lots of questions in the chat or comments. So I'm just going to give it a.
Okay, so we're
Okay,
gonna be,
great.
while you're looking at those, so we're gonna be it's sort of like a journey, accompanying people on a journey. We'll have the pre-writing phase
Right.
first, and then the outline and character definition phase, and then the rewriting and adjustment and adding gems phase, right? And then the how to critiquing, going over it, and how to share that stuff with the world. But what did you see in the chat, baby?
No, I just, somebody wanted to know the name of the of Chorus Line. So, but then other people were commenting. So it's great. Thank you for sharing. For those of you who said they haven't written or they're writing, they're coming back to it. Fabulous. Beautiful. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about character. While I'm doing that, get ready. You're going to write.
Oh, right. I
In
forgot to
this,
say to everyone, please get a pen and a piece
a
of
pencil
paper.
or your phone. So
Me-
in this little time, yeah, Gwen is ready. Gwen is ready. Yes. Um, we're gonna do a little bit of writing. We're not gonna do a lot. I mean, this is just it's an introduction, but but okay. So you need two elements for writing: character and story. I'm not being facetious. I'm not being funny. That's all you need. That's all William Shakespeare had. That's all Anton Chekhov had. That's all Luigi Pirandello had. Character and story. A character doing things. The most important thing that you will need, whether you write a memoir, a film, a TV show, a play, nonfiction, not just memoir, but nonfiction, characters have to want things. I'm going to put 2 words in the chat right now. Kass, when you record, does the chat get recorded?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. First word is objective. There's objective. Very important. If a character doesn't have an objective, you have to throw them out of the story. I'm sorry. I'm
A
sorry.
target, a goal, an objective,
Yes, and I'm going to, yeah,
an arrival point or something. Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to put the definition here. A character must want something. Must want something. Must, they have to. They have to. They have to. There's like, they have to. And I cannot tell you how many times, and this is something that, and I was guilty of this when I was 20 and 19. Sometimes we want to just be, well, I just wanted to be free flowing. That in and of itself, like Jack Kerouac's On the Road, Jack Kerouac wanted something. He wanted an alternative version of reality, an alternative version of truth. That's still wanting something. Does that make sense so
Yeah.
far?
Yeah. Also, I guess
Okay,
because some people maybe they just want to discover themselves. So what the objective is not defined, but it,
beautiful.
right?
But it's clear. Discover yourself. That's
Yeah.
clear. That's very clear to me. Now, you might be in a very unknown place, right? In the forests with no light, that you can still want to get out, to find light. You're hungry, you want a piece, you want a banana, you need to pee. You need to go to the bathroom. All right? So you must want something. Part 2 to that is a very important thing. This is more playwrighty, but it applies to all stories. Motivation is not the same thing as objective. And I'm putting it in the chat. Motivation, the why. The why. Why do you want that? We can all want to be rich, but we all want to be rich for different reasons. One reason to be rich is I'm greedy and I want all the money in the world. Another reason is maybe somebody grew up poor and they want to build a hospital in their town. The why is what is the fuel for your story. So I'm going to write that here. The why is the fuel for your story. Okay, everybody. So that's sort of that's a very, 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 very important thing. So Kass brings up this example about somebody trying to find themselves. Why? They're not happy. They know they're meant to do something else. They're afraid to write, but every morning they wake up, you should be writing. You should be writing. You look at yourself in the mirror, you should be writing.
Right.
Why aren't you writing? Why aren't you painting? Why aren't you cooking? Why aren't you designing clothes? Why aren't you going to medical school or whatever it may be? Okay, the why is very important. Now, when you sit down to write, you don't necessarily have to have all these things figured out. You just have these impulses and these visions. Yes, and I'm
I'm
going
like,
to tell
whew,
you,
thank goodness.
no, no, absolutely. I'm just giving you kind of like the skeleton of a
Right,
story, a
right.
universal skeleton of a story. It's about a character who wants something. Why do they want it? And the last word I'm giving you today is conflict, the obstacles. If you don't have conflict, it's almost like when I define conflict, because conflict, sometimes people think it's just punching, right? It's not that. I have a lot of food allergies and I love the things I'm allergic to. That's my conflict. I walk by, I can't have wheat. I walked by a bakery. Oh my God. I go nuts. I go nuts. That's my obstacle. So obstacles can be that, but it's healthier for me not to eat. When I eat it, I get sick. I get rashes and headaches. So obstacles can be anything, and they will be specific to your story. Right here, here's the basic structure of a element, the basic elements of any story. Characters who want things and the obstacles in their way. Boom. That's it. That's storytelling.
And then
Now
the
I'm
overcoming of the obstacles, or
right. And
right,
or not,
or not.
or not,
Right.
or not. Like the young woman from a chorus line, she didn't know if she was going to be you know, if they were going to pick her or not, but she made it to the audition and she didn't collapse. That's an amazing journey for her.
Mm.
I'm trying to pick universal. Have we all heard of Oedipus Rex by Sophocles? I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah.
About the man who sleeps, you know, the Oedipus complex that Freud coined. Um, the man who marries his mother and kills his father. It's a tragedy at the end. It's a tragedy, but you saw Oedipus try to overcome the conflicts. You saw him, and he was not successful. And in the chorus line, the person was successful. So far, so good? Okay, so that's it for the lesson. So before you start, right, I want to share quickly something that happened to me. One day I'm on I live in New York City, and I'm on the subway. I don't have a car, and I'm going to my writing workshop. This is, gosh, this is in the early 90s. And a man comes in, and you could tell he's a little high. And he starts talking to me. And people kind of talk to me in the subway. I don't know why. I hate that. But, you know, some days it's very interesting because people are interesting. Again, everybody has a story to tell. He starts telling me about his wife that left him. And he's really upset. He's very, very and he's just really just down and out. And I'm listening. In walks in a man into the subway car. He's homeless and he's singing doo-wop music, which was very popular in the United States in the 50s and 60s.
Right. Do up,
Go
do
Cat.
up, do up, do up. Why do it's falling? That's do up, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. Um, and then the man that was speaking to me about his lady leaving him says, "Oh man, I love doo-wop. I freaking love doo-wop." And he starts singing with the homeless man. And the homeless man is like, "Tears on my pillow." I can't sing. Cass can sing. I can't sing. What? "Tears on my pillow." And then the other guy's like, "Tears on my pillow. Sing it. Oh man, I freaking love you. Have a great voice." And I'm just like, to me, it was the most astounding thing. After it was over, the man goes to, you know, he tells everybody in the car, "Applaud him. He's got a great voice. Give him money, give him money." And then he goes to him, "Do you know when we get married?" Yes.
Sorry, 1 second.
No, that's okay. There's a question, I think.
Do you know when we get married? No, someone came off mute. Will you repeat so the guy that was
So the
crying?
guy,
Yeah.
right. So the guy, and that's a very famous doo-wop song, and it's a beautiful song, and it's like, when we get married, I can't sing, I'm sorry,
Oh, okay.
we'll have a big
Does he know the
celebration.
song When We Get Married? I thought he was asking the homeless
Oh
man
no,
to
I'm
marry
sorry,
him.
the name of the song is, hey, do you know the song When We Get Married? And then he goes, and then the homeless man says, no, I don't know it. He goes, man, I'll teach it to you, I'll teach it to you. Because when we get married, and then the homeless guy sort of like doesn't know what to do, and then the other guy is like, come on, I'll teach it to you. When we get married, then he says, say it, when we get married. When we will have a big celebration. And so he's teaching him. And then the homeless man is sort of like, oh my God, what do I do? So he goes along with it. Then the guy that was talking to me collapses. He starts crying. He goes, man, she left me. And the homeless guy sits down on the train and hugs him. True story. It almost like a pietad, like unbelievable. Then I had to get off the train because it was my stop. And I just stood there, and I'm like, I don't know what God is, but I think I just saw God. And I started crying. I'm even crying now thinking about it. So I go to my writing workshop and I tell them what happened. And they're like, oh, Carmen, the subway's disgusting. I can't believe this. That's so gross. I hope you didn't get near them because they have lice or these little bugs. Blah. And I was like, oh my God, I just saw one of the most beautiful things, like two people who are down and out giving each other compassion. Oh my God. So that began for me an idea for the play. So then it took 2 years to write. So I wrote a monologue about what just happened. Just a guy and the two guys. And I wrote like a 20-minute monologue, and I got it produced in different festivals. Then on another day on the train again, a family comes on, and they're going to prison to visit their respective family members. And they all dressed up, and this was before cell phones. They were taking pictures of each other, and they were like, do I look good? I got my hair done today. And somebody was pregnant while their husband was in jail, and she wanted to show him the baby. And again, I'm like, oh my God, all this humanity. So I combined the two stories, and it took another year, but I wrote a play about people trying to hold on to hope. So they didn't want anything specific, but they wanted hope. They wanted just to get through their day. And then how they meet together on the subway. So I just wanted to share that process with you um, uh, to to underscore the theme of the workshop, which is everybody has a story. So these people had a story, and it was. I mean, I had to make up a lot. I didn't interview them. Another time on the train, a man was going. Oh, this was the last component. He was going to Boston to find his family again because he was a recovering drug addict, and he's fine and he has toys for his baby. So what I did was I made I combined the two men that I met to be one man. So act one, he's high. I'm sorry, he's fine. Act one, I use the man with the toys, and he's gonna get his woman back. And then the women are gonna visit their men. And then in act two, he's drunk because he didn't get the woman back. So I feel like there's stories everywhere. So I share that with you, not to say that that's what you're going to write, but the stories you choose are based on your own spirit and and what stories you feel that you want to share. And we all have something to share.
And
And
what's moved you? What's moved you? What? Because those are people
yes,
who have
yes.
stories, but you have a story too because you actually had that experience, right?
Right. And I combined it
Yeah.
into my belief that when I was 20 years old, I saw an interview with a Mexican poet. Her name is Maria Elena Poniatowska, actually of Polish descent, Mexicana of Polish descent. And she said, writers give voice to the voiceless. And for me, I felt, because I also came from working class, like my parents came with nothing to from Puerto Rico to the United States. I feel like for me, for Carmen, for that story is like was my way of showing light that the people that we don't see, at least in the United States, poor people, people in distress, we think that they don't need anything or they don't have anything or that they don't have dreams. And I wanted to show that they have aspirations and they have dreams and they're trying to struggle. They're brilliant economists because they make money stretch. They so um, that was important for Carmen, the writer, and I found it was almost like I really did. The muse like was, wasn't a beautiful person coming into my life. It was all these amazing people with their stories right in front. I mean, and it's interesting. In all three instances, they sat right in front of me. So I felt like
Who was sending them to you? Was the universe
right,
sending them to you?
right. And then I was able to put um, my own philosophy about giving voice to the voiceless that I learned from Maria Elena Poniatowska. So I just wanted to share that with you, just to share like one process of writing. It could have easily been a novel, but I'm a playwright, so it became a play. Um, so having said that, and I also want to use that play as an example because it's about these amazing characters. I want you to think now. All right. So does anybody have any questions or anything? Or if Cass, you want to throw something in? Because I'm going to, once we're ready, I'm going to give the assignment.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because recognizing this is the structure of writing and how that goes, and examples about writing also, but also recognizing how many experiences that we all have had, not only in our
Mm,
lives, but that we've witnessed, and that either
right.
bring up some emotion. I mean, you've been tearing since you've been telling these
I
stories.
know, I'm
It was only
sorry.
20 years ago. No, but how many actually experiences do we have? So if there's something that influences us and that has left such an impact on us, like you
Hmm.
said, we may not be clear, we may not have clarity about what the motivation
Right.
those characters are, about why they're doing it, about what their objective is. But if it's that strong for us, there absolutely is something in there.
Absolutely. And I wrote the piece, and it's not even to tell you, it just, following what Cass said. It's just not even like I had a draft of the play with all the people I met, and then a homeless man comes in and he tells everybody, "Do you believe in God? Do you believe in God? If you don't believe in God, I'm going to pull the emergency brake." Every subway car has an emergency brake to stop the subway, and everybody's like, "No, we believe in God." And then I just thought, I don't know why, like, oh my God, maybe the homeless people are angels. So then I added four homeless people that come in. There's four scenes, one for every scene, and then I made them archangels because I started researching the archangels. And there's a lot of cursing in the play too. So the play was done twice. It was done in English, and then it was produced in Spanglish at Repertorio Español. It was done in English in English American theater, and then it was picked up, and then they wanted it in Spanglish. I was like, oh my God, everybody's gonna kill me. A priest brought his congregation to see the play, and there's all these curses in it. I was like, oh my, all these bad words. And I'm gonna cry again. I'm sorry. Like the priest came up to me after the show, and he goes, "I know exactly what you did. That was beautiful. That was beautiful." So then what I did was, in this subtle way, like the angels, the last man is Gabe, but Gabriel, right, the trumpet, like he's the one that sings, and he sings doo-wop also. He's my doo-wop singer. I moved him to the last one. And there's another angel that's sick that he's just in the subway car. That's Michael for Mercy. But this took years to put together. I just wanted to share with you that I'm not, Cass and I are not expecting that you're going to finish everything July 27. We want you to begin. This is the beginning of your journey, and to go with all the tools, in particular your own heart, with it, with it. And So um, so that's just one experience of one play by one writer. And you're also not writing plays. This is not a playwriting workshop. It's just that there are universal truths that exist in writing. And the first one is they're characters who want things, and then they overcome or not overcome obstacles.
Right. There's a comment in there from Gwen. Often our stories
Or
are
Ted.
attached to our feelings. How can
Mhm.
one bring
The
the
feel.
feels to their reader?
I'm going to answer you, Gwen, but I'm going to put through the character work. It's a great segue to our exercise through character work, because I put my own feelings. If you see my play, that play, you'll know what I think about homeless people or poor people or people who are not given a shot, um, or people who are scared. Like I created myself. I wrote myself into the play as a young girl who loves reading, who wants to be a writer. And then one of the characters, who is the woman that was taking the picture in the subway, I made her my mother. And just some the and my mother is very controlling, and she's funny controlling, which is nice. So they start talking to each other because they actually get stuck on the subway. So the subway gets stuck and they start talking. So the mother daughter is basically my mother and me. So I wrote a character for myself, but it wasn't really like Carmen. It was just inspired by Carmen. So then the mother, the aspiration, right? The one character, the mother goes, she's meeting this man who's going to Boston, and she goes, "That's my daughter Colette. It's French, Colette. That's cool, right? French. No Carmen's or Maria's for my daughter. She's gonna break the mold." You know exactly what she thinks, and that was kind of my mom. Like she didn't name me Colette, but but to use that. And then the daughter's like, "Well, I want to be a writer." She goes, "You ain't going to be a writer. Writers are poor. They sleep on the floor. You're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a lawyer." And that was fight that I had with my mom. And then the daughter keeps on like insisting. And then the man that she meets, who is the recovering addict who has the toys, says that, "Well, oh, because the mother says they ain't no Puerto Rican writers. Wait, you know a Puerto Rican writer?" So then the man who's the recovering addict, so like, "Well, there actually Cass. I used Piri Thomas. Well, yeah, there was this man who's Puerto Rican. His name is Piri Thomas. He came to our, and then he doesn't want to say rehab. He says my community center to read work." And then the mother says, "You see, there's already a Puerto Rican writer, so you can't be no Puerto Rican writer. You see?" And that's a fight. That's a fight I had with me and my mom. That's a fight. So that's how I put myself in. And then the other man, his name is Tony, goes, "Well, there was actually another Puerto Rican writer. Her name is Nicolasa Amor. She came, and then and then the mother's like, "You see, all right, that's it. There's already two writers. Forget it. Like you ain't got no shot now. You ain't gonna be a writer. You're gonna be a lawyer. Shut up, and I don't want to hear any more from you. You understand?" That's how I put my feelings in. Does that make sense, Gwen? I just created a character for myself. But it's not me, but it's me. Like my mother saved all my teeth, my baby teeth. I'm 55 years old. My mother still has my baby teeth in her jewelry box.
I think
My
that's
mother
a little bit
saved
like cat whiskers, though. You're not supposed to keep them, but I'm not sure.
I that long, I know. And then my belly button too. Like my mother saved my belly button. I'm like, "Mommy, I could be a grandmother now." And she says, "I pushed you out of my body. It took 72 hours. I could do whatever can I say it? Whatever the fuck I want." That's what my mother tells me. She said, "I could do whatever the fuck I want. It took me 3 days to push you out." So she's funny. So for me as a writer, I use that humor in that particular character. Now, I have to tell you, I don't know a lot about the world of ghostwriting because, to be honest, I work in the theater. So we kind of write our work. But from what I understand, and Brenda, we could probably speak more about this um, at another time. But um, if you dictate your story to somebody, this is very complicated, and I know it's, if you dictate your story to somebody and they actually are just typing up your story, then you're the writer. Oh, great. So then
Yeah, that's Ivy is a
Ivy,
ghostwriter.
you
Yeah,
talk, you say
yeah,
it. I'm not a ghostwriter. I don't want to speak.
right. And we were talking about definitions
Okay.
for that because hi Brenda, I don't even see her, but I know her. Yeah,
And we have some more
yeah.
questions too.
Okay,
So,
cool.
okay.
So
Go
we
ahead, Cass.
we will be talking about the ghostwriting and what that looks like. Rita will be coming on and sharing some of her awarenesses about that as well. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
want to. Sorry, Cass, go.
no. And just what is about editing, what is about that sort of editing, what is about actually gathering your story, helping gathering your story, which was Rita's amazing at. And this is also about getting clarity about what the story is that you'd like to tell. So that's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
That's great, Ivy. Yeah,
Yeah, so Ivy, let me give the exercise first and answer this question, and then we can go to that. Because that's a really, obviously, you know it. So that's a very different experience. So I'm just gonna, what we say in English is table that for now.
yeah.
Just we'll put it here.
And
It's
I've
not
got a
going
couple of
anywhere.
yeah, I've got a couple of suggestions for you, Brenda. That's why I wanted you to come on. Brenda thinks
Awesome.
that better than I do.
Be-
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. So Jeanette asks, is this part of the course? Because the exercises, and I heard a deadline. Yeah, the deadline, the last class is July 27th, and this is an appetizer for the course. I'm going to give you a 5-minute writing exercise. There'll be, obviously, this is not, this is, I'll be repeating some of this information next Monday, but there'll be more to it than this. So, much more, because I'm just giving you the sense of what we're going to be doing in the workshop. The workshop will be focused on developing your story, and there are different steps to developing it. And today I'm just giving you a window into what stories are composed of. And a lot of it too, to break the mystique of writing. A lot of people think they have to be like William Shakespeare to write, or they have to be William Faulkner, or Vaclav Havel or something. And it's like, well, they wrote lots of drafts. It's a process. There's a very famous writer from Portugal, José Saramago, and they asked him once what his inspiration was, and he said, I'm going to say it in Spanish first, and then we can translate it. I'll say it in English. Inspiración es una mierda. Es todo la muñeca. So he said, inspiration is shit. It's all in the wrist, which is, it's the writing. So part of it is like, it's like, I want to climb Mount Everest. I'm excited. Then you start climbing. You're like, oh man, okay. One at a time, one step at a time. So that's sort of like what this free Zoom is for, is to give you guys sort of like, here we are. You can write your play. We all have a story, or your book, or your memoir. So it's a little appetite. But Jeanette, this is a sort of like an introduction to the course. Where's Jeanette? I'm trying to find her. Okay. All right. I signed up. Okay, great. So here's the exercise. I want you to, whether you're all here because you want to write something, whether it's a memoir, a book, a song, you're all here because you want to write something. I want you right now on a piece of paper, when you imagine your story, you can close your eyes, think of one character and give that character a name. I want you to do that right now. I'm giving you 10 seconds. Even if you don't have to commit, you're not marrying the name. Just Thank you, Cass. Cass has all the information in the chat. And I'm going to need one or two volunteers to share. All right, Ivy rose her hand. Okay, Ivy, you're going to share. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is write a couple of lines for your character about a memory they may have had and or a turning point in their life. All stories involve characters that experience a turning point. From Harry Potter to Hamlet to Don Quixote. Okay, so I'm going to give you all 5 minutes. Okay, I'm here if you have questions. Write down your character name and a memory, and or maybe the memory is a turning point. Is everybody clear about this? We call this a free write, a free write. And a lot of times in my classes, in the first 10 minutes, I'll give this as a free write assignment. Okay, everybody, just write a memory for your character. You'll be surprised with what comes out. Your character, not you, your character. So I gave to answer Gwen's question, and then I'll shut up, is my mom with the teeth. The first thing I wrote for that character was, Mom, why do you keep my teeth? I used my own memory, but I gave it to a character and I changed it to make that person's memory. Okay, so I'm going to give you, it's 2:42 now. I'm going to put a timer on my phone, 5 minutes. And if you're not finished, that's okay. Just write. Don't think about it. Good. Cass?
Oh, I already wrote it. It has to be
Okay, great. Okay, great. So I'm here, but I'm putting the timer on. You have 4 minutes now.
all right. Hope the translators are writing too. Did you? Adriana? Nicolette? Character Anna? Tomas? Lori? Character name and a memory and or turning point. And before we close, I would love you to talk about turning points and yeah, transformation turning points.
Okay, okay, everybody. Just the last minute and a half. finish your last sentence, and then we'll get some of you to share. Okay, last 20 seconds. Gracias, Tomás. All right. All right. Here we go. Okay, so this is a free write. This is something you've already begun your writing process. There's this idea that you sit down and you write chapter 1, and then you start writing. Sometimes that happens, sometimes that didn't. Sometimes you begin, and I shared the next stop with you just to say that I didn't begin writing the play from the beginning. I began it from every encounter I had in the subway. I wrote as a scene, and then I started putting the play together. So Ivy said she wanted to share. Who else would like to share? So then I know how much, because we have, I guess, Cass, we have like 15 minutes left. How much time do we have left?
Yeah.
So Ivy, go for it. Oh, and if there's somebody who doesn't speak English, Cass, you share second. Beautiful. And our translators can share the work of other people too. We'll do that, you know, if that makes it easier. Okay, Ivy, go for it.
Hello, here in Brazil it's afternoon,
Oh,
so
you're on
good
mute.
afternoon, but good evening for everybody.
I can't hear
I'm gonna
you.
read
Can other people
the
hear
first.
Ivy?
1 second. You can't hear her?
Oh gosh. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. It was me. It was my computer.
Okay.
Ivy,
Go ahead.
speak.
Go ahead, Ivy.
Yeah, can
Ivy,
you
I'm
hear me
so
now?
sorry. Yes, it was my fault. Sorry.
There's okay. Good afternoon here. I'm from Brazil, and good evening for you that are in Europe. So I'm gonna read the first lines of my character Anna.
Beautiful.
A direction, please. I used to live in New York City, but there has been 20 years that I'm not going to Forest Hills. The one in Queens? Yes, I used to work there and I want to show my children. Well, from downtown, you are going to take at least 30 minutes by train. That's not a problem. Or you can take a Uber. They can call from the reception desk. Oh, wonderful. I never had been there by car, only by subway. Was the R key line, I think. There is going to be not a travel to Queens, but to a memory lane, isn't it? Anna was silent off that point. She never felt like that. If the place if the place was different from what she remembers, or if she found that memories from her youth would bring her pain, what she would teach her children. For the first time, she considered maybe was a not good idea to go to Forest Hills.
Beautiful, Ivy. Beautiful. I'm going to ask you here. Do you guys see this? Let me see if I could do this. Here we go. Beautiful. There you go. Yay. Okay, I clap. So this is from that small piece of writing. I got your character lives in another country, worked in another country, wanted to take children there. So this person now has children. There was a painful memory in the youth. And then there was a work situation that changed. Right there, you opened up an entire universe. I don't know these questions. I don't know the answers to these questions, but there's so much. It's rich. It's so rich, because then why is this person coming back at this time? When did this person leave? What happened that made the person leave? What happened to make the person go there? One thing that's very, and part of the way that is wonderful to work is, I can talk and talk and talk and talk about writing, but I can't really teach you until you write, or we can't work it out. So I'm actually going to work, the lessons are going to be structured around your writing, not my, like, not, I could blah, 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 whatever. But so Ivy, beautiful, beautiful. That piece right there. Then is she going to take the Uber? Is she going to take the train? So if you could tell me in about 3 sentences, what is the story that you want to write about?
It's like a back to the past and to wonder the future, because their children are the future and why they are learned from her past.
Beautiful.
I put Uber because from the first time that Anna lives in New York City, there was an Uber.
Right.
So there's the story also is gonna like it's an exercise. I remember I just wrote this because you told me, but it's like a difference. These 20 past years, the world has changed in so much.
Yes.
There was no cell phones, and now everybody's connected. I'm connected with you and for free charge. So there was no Uber, and that at the time that Anna lives in New York City. So now there is. So and the idea of the story is the changings of the world and the changes of herself.
Beautiful. So what's very important for your story, even though I'm not in your head, Ivy, is what this turning point happened to her, and why she feels it's important to bring her children back. So the past in your story is also the present and the future.
Exactly.
So it's really nice. Good work. Okay, good. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have, all right. Thank you. Obrigada for sharing. We have 2 people. So we have Jeanette and Kass.
Yeah,
Okay,
mine is
Kass.
so completely different, right? So it's
That's good. That's actually a good example.
yeah. Okay, so I didn't write really a story, or I
You
just,
didn't have to.
the
It's a free
character is
write.
Joanne, right? The character is Joanne, and her memory, or her turning point, was, her memory is about when she told the truth about what she saw and observed as a young girl, and how she was made wrong for saying it and called a liar and punished for it, and how that actually influenced her life and the way she related to people, or was willing, feeling wrong about herself. And so,
Beautiful.
yeah, that, I mean, completely different, right?
That's awesome. No, that's a great example to show how the flexible the workshop is going to be. Um, so what's very important, Cass, there's 2 things important in your story. What was the event that was witnessed? And you're going to have to go into the event that was witnessed. You could leave the event as a secret to the end. You could start out with the event. It's up to you. That's something I can't teach you. I can just tell you the event is very important, and you're very clear about the consequences and the punishment about that. But we have to see how these consequences and punishment have played out into the life of Joanne.
Cool.
So I would say, and beginning the story, look at the event. I would actually even say, write out the event very clearly. You don't know where you're going to place it. And the other thing is, write one instance of a consequence to begin with. Don't put it, if you start thinking, the mistake is, we're like composers, right? So when a composer sits down to write a piece, they don't write every instrument. They're like, oh, this is the oboe line, this is the piccolo line, this is the flute, this is the piano. So we're doing pieces. So for Cass, you would have to almost approach this like a composer. Look at one consequence. How did that lead to the other consequence? And how did Joanne react to that, to those consequences? That's your first step, Cass.
Okay.
Without, you know, without, and you might have in your head already where you want it to go. in the workshop, one of the things that we're going to be working on is you're going to do writing, and I want you to bring in like 2 pages a week. You're going to do writing. You got to do a lot of writing outside of this, because it's the muñeca, it's the wrist. We got to do it. I also think you should all buy or find a special notebook for this project. It's very important that you treat your idea and your writing special, and you keep it someplace, and nobody can see it unless you let them see it. It's yours. I cannot tell you what that does into the mind frame, and you have to protect your idea, because the only thing writers have are their stories. That's it. So I recommend you do that before Monday. So great, Cass. Do you have any questions about what I just shared with you?
No, I actually have some awarenesses about it, because some people, you think you have a story, a whole story, but then the example that you gave, which is great about the train, how many elements come together, right?
Right.
To enrich the story. It's like, I live in Italy, so it's like cooking, you might have, the basis, and you love the, cooking. So you might have the basis, a nice, salad, right?
Right.
That may be a side dish, or it may be the main dish. But if that's what inspires you from the beginning, start from there, and either, keep adding to it, or even create something, maybe characters apart, develop those characters, right? Apart, and then bring
Absolutely.
them together. Yeah.
Absolutely. And in fact, cooking is a great, Cass and I, when we talk about story, I love the process of cooking. What I'm going to share with you and what I can do is give you the list of ingredients, right? When every recipe has a list of ingredients, then the instructions. Everybody does the instructions differently, but we all have to boil water, or you have to preheat the oven.
There's so many ways to make mayonnaise. My friends in the south of France make it with the basis of mustard. My
Amazing.
mother-in-law makes it with the basis of first the egg, the white of the egg. So everyone does it different, and it still comes out as delicious mayonnaise.
And it's still mayonnaise,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So beautiful, Cass.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Where's Jeanette? I don't see Jeanette anymore. See you, Jeanette. She said she wanted to. Hi, Jeanette.
You can hear me? Sorry,
yes, I can hear you.
My bandwidth is really low. So
no problem.
Don't think I can do video.
Oh, that's okay.
So where do I start?
Just read what you wrote. Okay, sorry.
The name of the character, Marla. And her memory. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Last thing I remember, I was in the hospital bed, and this nurse was staying at the foot end of the bed. She just stood there. I didn't remember calling her. Don't you have to be with patients who really need you? I asked her. Everyone is taken care of, she said calmly. I have time to be here. I guess I had no idea how sick I was, because next thing I know, I wake up in that field of barley just outside of town here. What else? What else do I remember? My son. I told him I'd be okay, that I'd be home soon. He gave me a slumpy. He said it would help make me feel better soon, but I'm not okay, and I don't even know where I am. I don't even know when I'll be home, and I cannot tell him how much I love him now. That's it.
Great. I'm just taking notes. Beautiful, Jeanette. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. I forgot. Okay, here, you get a clap.
Oh.
There you go. And Cass, you get one too. I forgot. Sorry. We have to get, I do this with my students. Everybody gets a clap. Everybody gets, beautiful. Okay, Cass, this is for Cass.
She's in the in-between world, and her body's in a coma in a hospital bed, and she's trying to get her bearings.
Beautiful. And you opened up so much information.
Oh.
Because it's last thing I remember. So what else? I want to know where she was before. who's this person that she didn't get to say I love you to? When she says she's not sure where she is, that's a wonderful place to start. In a way, very different than Kass's story. Your story is almost the reader is going to be discovering what's happening as Marla discovers what's happening.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting. So you have a mystery, and for you, in a way, it's almost working backwards. You have to know, Jeanette, you have to know what's happened to then take us back to discovering what happened. So you will be unraveling. So I think that's a really great place to start, because you already have hospital, you have great characters. You have hospital people, nurses, doctors, perhaps. We don't know. It sounds like she's not in a good place. So we don't know when she's going to come. You know, we don't know if she's ever going to get better. And will she ever see this person that she didn't say I love you to? And I think your idea, do you want are you writing a book about somebody in a coma?
It's sort of my own curiosity about something that happened to myself.
Beautiful.
She is in this in-between world.
Beautiful.
And she doesn't know if she wants to go back.
Beautiful.
And her son left his stuffy, his stuffed animal on her bed. And eventually she is being taught to communicate through this stuffed animal to her son, where she is.
Nice, Jeanette. So I feel like you have a really good sense of where you want your story to live. So what we'll do in the workshop is just like organize where you want to start, and then what happened, and then what was the event that got her into the hospital, that brought her into the coma. And maybe she's not sure of it, and maybe she's trying to piece it together throughout the experience in your story. It feels like, in a way, like the way Kafka began the Metamorphosis. Gregor Samsa woke up as a cockroach and he didn't know how he got there. And then it's this mystery. And then we never find out really how he got there. So yeah, I feel yours is going to be much more intimate because there's relationship, and you have the beautiful element, the object of the stuffed animal, that's going to resonate really strongly for the storytelling and the revealing of what's happening in the story. So I hope you start writing soon, all of you.
Wow.
And I didn't, Ivy and Kass, like, in fact, I'm going to assume you're all coming back on Monday. So that's something. So I think your homework should be, if for Monday, is just, let's say Jeanette, you ran into me, and you kind of already done you've already done the homework, Jeanette, which is great. So I'm going to give you a second piece of homework that other people can do. And maybe Ivy can do this too. You run into me in the street, and Jeanette and Carmen are in the street. Oh my God, Carmen, how you doing? I say, hey, what's up, Jeanette? And then she said, and Jeanette said, Carmen, I'm working on a new book. It's about this woman in a coma. Tell me in one paragraph what your story is about. That's homework number 1.
Oh, cool.
Just tell me. Just like, don't even think about it. Oh my God.
You want me to tell you now?
No, that's for homework next week. That's what we're going to do. We're going to start out. That's going to be where everybody's going to explain what their story is about. But it's almost like you're going to be like, Kass, what's up? Oh my God, how you doing? Kass, what are you doing? Kass, like, oh, Carmen, I've just started this new book, and it's about like this young girl who like had to keep this truth inside. I don't know if you told anybody, but that's going to be part of the journey, Kass. Did you tell? Did you not tell? Oh my God, how long are you going to keep that a secret? Is this secret, this truth that she witnessed and didn't tell anybody, but has been punished for it? And I'm going to be like, oh man, all right, so we got to start now. But tell me what she witnessed. That's going to be the first part for you, Kass. For Ivy, it could be like, it's about, a woman bringing her children back to a place that changed her life, whether it was for better or for worse. I don't know, Ivy, you write it out. Like, that's just, and I'm assuming all of you are going to take the class. So
Yeah,
Uh,
Brenda said hello. She had to run. She thought it was ending at 6:30. I think that's what it said on the website. So it was
oh, I'm sorry.
half
We went
hour.
like we went super over.
And she said, so she had planned a thing, but I really, Umbacho, thanks. I really enjoyed this. She said, and she
Okay,
about it.
bacho back to her.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
and
I
go ahead.
Cass has the link in the she has a link in the chat to the 4 weeks. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do like a very famous song from Company. By the way, I put the link to the YouTube of a chorus line, but there's a very famous song that Stephen Sondheim wrote. Um, Not Company. Have you heard of the musical Sunday in the Park with George?
Yes,
Sorry, a lot of my
reference, but that's fine. You've got international reference also. You were telling me the other day. So what's the song called?
The song is Putting It Together, bit by bit, piece by piece, putting it together. That's what we're gonna do. That's what the
Is that
4 week.
Barbara Streisand who sings it?
She I think there's a version of it, but Mandy Patinkin, putting it together bit by bit, piece by piece. That, and it's the process, and that's the process of making art. That's what we're gonna be doing. That's what we're going to be doing. So that's what I want everybody for day one. I mean, obviously, if you didn't take this free workshop, there you go, Cass found
I
it.
know. Don't worry. I'll end it with that so people can hear it.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say is that so in addition to the 3 sessions, there's a lot of people who have a couple of people have asked about because they're working. So the sessions are from 4 p.m. Central European time. So that's 10 a.m. in Eastern American time and 7:30 in India time for 3 hours. And then we'll have a closed Facebook group where any questions that come up that we'll be able to respond and interact with. And if someone is not able to make that time frame, we're also available on Sunday to have an hour catch up before the homework is due, so we don't skip our homework. So so it's a month of interacting, whether it's written or on Zoom, and also through the Facebook. I wanted to let you know. So I'm really excited about it, and it's quite different. It's a different energy. I mean, we had a Zoom together the other day. It's a really interesting energy. I'm excited. Does anyone have any questions, especially, Gwen, Anna? I said Vicky's on there. I see. Hey, Vicky, baby. Tomas or anyone? Anna, do you have anything you want to ask? No? You excited? Totally. Yeah. Cool. Gwen, anything?
You're muted, Gwen. You're muted. Unmute yourself. Okay.
Here I am.
Hi.
Oh, this has been wonderful. There's so much. I have this whole list of things I want to write about. So I tend to now how will I narrow it all down from family to career, whatever, and things
And
like
I
that.
can help with that. We'll be co-creating this, so I can definitely help with that.
Beautiful.
Identifying exactly what it is that will allow you also to recognize what is vital to you in this moment. And it might be Carmen and I were talking about that. Sometimes it's 2 simultaneous projects as well. So we can definitely talk about that. Rito, go ahead.
Was writing is I visualized the experience I wanted to write about. And then I kept putting in parentheses the feelings that were happening at the time of the experience. So that was the piece that I was like, I'm gonna really have to work on that, because how do you do that as a writer with a fluidity, without stopping to go, okay, wait a minute. She was thinking this and she was thinking that. So that's exciting to think about exploring as a writer, how you would communicate that message. So.
That's exactly. Can I just say, this is a joke that I tell my students all the time. So Gwen, do you know what that's called?
What?
Writing. That's it. And I tell them, they'll say, Carmen, I threw the scene out, then I did the scene again, and then I didn't like it. And then I say, guys, you know what that's called? Playwriting. So I say, Gwen, that's exactly the process. You
Right.
just did the process today.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
beautiful. That's it. That's it. Just as Jeanette has something very specific she wants to write, which is very different than you. You're going to be searching a little differently. Ivy has a very specific image also, but it all starts in different ways. That's why when Cass and I were conceptualizing this workshop, we wanted to be as free and as open as possible, because everybody's story is going to be different. I know Tomas already has something very concrete that he even, I think, has written a lot of it. So I would say to you, Tomas, use these 4 weeks to do rewriting,
Mm.
to do rewriting, to do the things, you know, don't even, you could share whatever you want to share. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I say use the 4 weeks to rewrite, see where you go with that.
Also, I get the sense of what I get from Tomas's thing is that it could be a series too.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
what we, yes. So we'll talk about season 1, season 2, season
Yeah.
3. Is there ways of doing that?
And also, people, I wanted to say one of the things, there's so many different things. We didn't go over it, but Stefania will send out, thank you, Stefania.
Thank
Also,
you, Stefania.
what the modules, what we cover in the modules. And a lot of times writers have roadblocks, right? I'm sure, Ritu, you've got that, right? A lot of times writers have roadblocks. So how to go beyond that, we actually have a similar approach to that. And how to distract yourself a bit so that you can actually, you know, get more clarity, absent, and then get more clarity about it. And, you know, it comes from all over. Sometimes we're so focused on something, right? So we've got lots of tips for you on that. Ritu, did you want to say something, darling?
Cass, thank you. Thank you so much. This is awesome. I had a great time. I've been a ghostwriter for over a decade now. That's a
Wow.
different ball game altogether.
Yes.
Um,
Wow.
I've been a writer, I've been a journalist for 25 years.
Wow.
Uh, this this is really beautiful. But ghostwriting is really very different because ghostwriting first is about understanding the person you want to write about.
Oh,
It's
wow.
more in the mind. It's more
Wow.
psychological. It's more about being in sync with yourself and the relatability that you will project out there in the world. Because no matter how different we
Amazing.
believe we actually are one and the same. You know, when you speak
Beautiful.
about the subway incident, I cry the way you cried.
Mm.
Why is that? I get goosebumps because I am you when you are me. So there is
Oh,
a certain relatability that has to be in no matter what story. Because for me, when I ghostwrite, I have to spiritually and soul wise connect with the person. That's why I suppose Cass, my connection with Cass was amazing. And Cass kept asking me, what are you going to do with so much content? And I'm like, just flood me with content and I will do what I have to do. And
amazing.
you know, if I may say, the book really turned out to be very beautiful for both of us.
Beautiful.
So so writing is of, you know, there are different kinds of writing, but at the end of the day, you know, Carmen, the whole thing is that it is about the wrist. It's about taking the
Right.
pen, the paper, whatever it takes to make you write. You just have to write.
Mm. Absolutely. I was just putting the author's name down, Jose Saramago. So true, Rito. So true. That's beautiful what you said. I didn't know that about ghostwriting. Wow.
Awesome. Awesome.
Amazing.
Okay.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else? Thank
Thank you.
you. Thanks for the patience. All right. So, any questions you have, we're available, and you could definitely ping us or call us on or whatever, and we're here for you. I hope that you enjoyed it. That was different. And thank you for the translations, and we'll see what shows up. Okay.
Thank you, Kass. Thank
Thank
you,
you
Carmen.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Just take
Thank you
care.
all. This
On
was
you all.
Thank you,
wonderful.
guys.
I looked forward to all of your stories next week.
Quindi non vedo l'ora di leggere le vostre storie dalla prossima settimana.
Ciao Gianvario.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. Bye bye now.
Bye,
Ciao,
Bye
everybody.
bye.
Carmelito.
Bye
Ciao.
everybody.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye
See
bye.
ya.
Okay. So that's it, Kat. Oh wait, Cass left.
Yeah.
All right. Bye,
Yeah.
sir, everybody. Wonderful
Yes.
work.
You could. We can
Thank
stay on
you.
for a
Bye.
moment if you'd
Okay,
like.
I'll stay on.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 Spasiba. Arigato.
I love it. It was
Kusanam.
great.
Gracias. Grazie. Just gonna record with the post-free Zoom. How was that for you, darling?
It was great. It was great. I think we're in great shape. This is like, because it's always good to begin with a free write, and I love the idea. Like, I mean, I think we're in good shape.
They like the stories?
I think so. I love their stories. I think all three, and yours. I can't wait to find out what happened. I can't wait.
I,
Oh my God, this
right.
is
Well,
amazing.
I just came up with that now. That, but when you asked for, you said you've got 10 seconds. Okay, so
Good. That's it. That's it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then what is the thing? And I just wrote it down. I didn't write like the story, and I was like,
No, that's it.
I wrote it down. I had already, yeah, yeah.
It
So
was
a
to
lot of
write.
people are in have different approaches, right?
Yes,
And but
exactly. And yes,
yeah, and I
and
think
everybody's
even for the
gonna.
ghostwriters, it was actually quite great. Ritu and Ivy and yeah, what approach people have and who thinks that they actually can't. Even if you're going to hire someone to help you write something, to have
Mhm.
clarity about those
Yes.
issues. And I think that that's something to share. They have
Yeah.
clarity about the approach so that they're not taking it off of what your knowing is,
Right.
what the essence of what you know is the richness that you want to get out there. And that might be the emotions, that might be the feeling. So
Absolutely. And the
any
feelings are very. I mean, music brings us feelings. I mean, it's a very visceral. We know danger through our feelings. We know love through our feelings. We know when something smells good that it brings back a memory, that brings back a feeling. So that's it's like I'm looking at this boot camp, also understanding that they're different experiences and different. Like what you're going to write is very different than what Jeanette is going to write. To make sure that it's flexible enough that everybody can be able to do their work.
yeah.
Whereas Tomas is ready to go. Like I feel
Yeah.
Tomas needs
But
a
however,
month.
that Tomas was quite aware that there is an element missing. And
Okay.
often what I say is, in my 7 steps book, that the step 4 is go beyond the veil. And sometimes we recognize that something is missing in our lives. And sometimes we're aware that that something is us. And we don't
Right.
know exactly where to go and where to look because we're so used to being beyond the veil. So I get that this Dancing with Riches writing boot camp will allow people through the writing experiences, through the
Right.
writing workshop, to actually access more of themselves. And then
Absolutely.
through the accessing more of themselves, enrich their writing. So anyway, just wanted to do a little quick recording with you, and anything you would like
Beautiful.
to say to people that we're recording, I'll end it in a minute, but the end.
Okay. No, I think it's great. I think they're all in a great. I think the fact that they want to do this and they came is already step 1. And step 2 is that they sat and they wrote. They actually wrote. And that's sort of what the free write is supposed to, generate, because just doing this, you did it. Like, okay. So it's like diving into a pool. This is what I wanted to say. I'll tell them next week. It's like diving into a pool. It's always cold when you first get in, and then it feels good. So,
So let's
it's a,
dive in, everybody. Let's dive in
I
together.
say, absolutely. Yes,
Give
please. I'll see you Monday. Yes.
Yes,
Listen.
yes, thank you.
If my legs were longer, if my bust was smaller, if my hands were graceful, if my waist was thinner, if my hips were flatter, if my voice was warm, if I could concentrate, I'd be in the follies, I'd be in a cabaret. Gentlemen in tall silk hats and linen spats would wait with flowers. I could make them wait for hours. Giddy young aristocrats with fancy flats who drink my health, and I would be as hard as nails. And they'd only want me more if I was a folly girl. Nah, I wouldn't like it much.